No, they're in a pile in my office, half finished. You know, I have a question because you know, when I've done panels like this before, like I said, I've given like a little talk. Sometimes I talk about art and kind of my life story, and that you know, my parents didn't want me to become a comic book artist, and then I chose to do that. But then I thought, like, I don't know if that's really of interest to you guys. Like, so how many of you are aspiring artists? Okay. How many are here for free sketches? All right. Okay. What was other art appreciation? How many of you just appreciate art? Okay, that's cool. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, Aquaman. Well, I have my own private office at home where I draw, and it's actually behind a secret door. Huh? A clock? No, it's the pool. It's like there's the living room or the family room, and then there's like a billiards room like right next to it, like a den. And then one of the wood panels you just push open, and that's the entrance to the. So if you lean against that wood panel, you're gonna fall down. Yes. Oh, okay, sure.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Hey, when in the past, when you've drawn comic books and you've had bystanders in the background, have you ever thought of friends or family and put their picture in there and
yeah, I have.
Look at page 3. It's you in the background.
Sure. There's Batman Hush. There's a scene in a symphony hall, and there's all these people when Batman's jumping towards Harley Quinn, and I drew a bunch of people that worked at the office in there. I'm not great with likenesses, so I don't do it too often, but yeah, sometimes. Okay.
Hey, Jim.
Yes.
All-Star Batman and Robin, Frank Miller. Will we
Yes.
ever see that completed?
When will that be completed?
Yeah, when can we see the completion?
I have script for like 2 issues, and I have started. What I end up with issue 10, so I think I have like 5 or 6 pages done of the 11th issue. That said, Frank is super busy now. He's working on Sin City 2, so it's going to be tough, I think, getting work out of him for the time being. But I would love to finish it up. I mean, I actually don't know how the story ends. The first, 9 issues really is about how Robin kind of enters into Batman's heart, like Batman doesn't want a sidekick, and then finally he accepts him and understands, and they kind of relate. And then the second half is really like who killed Robin's parents and how does Joker play into it. And he introduces all these other characters, and there's this huge 4 or 5 page pullout of Gotham City with the Batcopter over it, which is huge. And I want that to be printed. I put a lot of time into that. So I hope to get it done someday.
Okay, and a couple months ago, there was a Wildcats hardcover collection solicited, but I was wondering if that will ever come out.
I think it's on the list.
Okay.
I think at one time we put that on because we're going to time it with the re-release of the book or something like that, and that didn't happen. So it's on the list, though.
Okay, cool. Thanks for coming.
Right. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Just wondering, for fun, which character you like to just draw? Maybe when you're on dinner, you have a napkin just to draw. Do you draw people or just Fred Flintstone?
Do I what?
Just whatever you, just for fun. What do you like to just draw?
I'll draw like little figures like this, It's just kind of practicing silhouettes. Right? It's Nova. That's her Marvel character for the day. Thank you. So it's really just really about contours and silhouettes, and it tells the whole story really. So I don't know. I practice like hands. This one's kind of stubby. All right? Yeah. Huh? Eyes? No, I don't really practice too much eyes. I like the foreshortened stuff. I like the power silhouette stuff. Sometimes I'll do goofy stuff, But anyway, let me get back to this. I'm gonna figure out a way to kind of give it out randomly, I think.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
Good.
So I have a question about costume design,
Yes.
naturally.
Yes.
And now, how when sort of reinterpreting an old costume or creating a new one,
Yes.
how do you decide how to balance, utility with flash, with just all the things that go into an iconic costume and will stand the test of time?
Yeah. Boy, that's a tough one. Let me just first say that I think designing costumes in general is a very kind of thankless task. I mean, for the most part, people kind of hate everything that's new or changed. I remember there was an artist, at Marvel, who redesigned the X-Men, and he just the experience was so awful. He just kind of gave up comics for a while. I don't know. I think you've got to go for the core elements that are critical to the look of the costume, and kind of freely delete or change the things that look a little dated. When we did the New 52, we had a mission statement, which was to update the looks and make them as contemporary as possible. So that was kind of that was the single driving kind of design that was going into all the costume changes. Gosh, I don't know. I know for like Wonder Woman, we got rid of some of the gold elements on her chest, but she still looks like Wonder Woman. So to me, it's it's a tough one. You just got to go for the big elements that. So if you squint and look at the character from a distance, that you can tell it's still that character. So for me, the red trunks on Superman, I mean, from a distance, you don't really notice them. Oftentimes, they're filled in black for the most part, and they kind of have a red highlight anyway. So obviously, the S symbol, the red cape, the red boots, the blue on the body, that's the kind of stuff you want to keep. So to me, that's the kind of litmus test, is that you don't want it to look at it from a distance and squint and go like, I don't know who that is. So I don't know who asked that question. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, talking to that guy. Anyway.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, I've been following your career since X-Men, even before, and then of course Wildstorm,
Yes.
and of course DC. Very impressive. If you had a relative that wanted to have the effect on the industry that you've had, what would be the top 3 bits of information that you would give? If you have more, that's fine.
Wow, these
Just
are
top
heavy-duty
3.
questions. I'm gonna talk about my life next time. What are the 3 bits of advice I would give to someone that was trying to break into comics? A relative? Yeah. Because I would give them a more truthful answer? Why a relative? Yeah, I would give the same advice to anybody, right? So, gosh, if you want to be an artist, you just got to practice. I would say that is the...
You've also had a business effect as well.
Right, now you're expanding the, the category. I mean,
That's what the amazing.
right. I'll tell you what kind of defined a lot of my early career was just a hunger for knowledge. When I started out as a penciler. I got really interested in inking and how to ink and techniques, and I just talked to inkers and really studied their stuff, and so I ended up inking my own work in Punisher War Journal. And then got really interested in writing, realized I couldn't write, but I was really interested in plotting and how these guys kind of construct these stories, so did a little co-plotting. I actually got interested in comic book conventions, and through a tour. It's called the Mighty Marvel Mutant Tour, and we went to San Diego, LA, San Francisco, and that was also a thankless job. It's very, very tough. I applaud all the people at WonderCon. And then when we started Image Comics, I just never was scared of anything. I mean, I come off fairly mild-mannered, but inside there's the heart of a warrior, I think. When I was at Marvel working on the X-Men, I was doing really well financially because X-Men was selling so great, but it just didn't factor into the equation. It's just like, you know what, this is something new. I'm going to work with some of my friends. Who knows what will happen? And I love that kind of sense of adventure. I love, kind of jumping off into the deep end. And I think even, when I became co-publisher of DC, there was a lot of that same kind of feeling like, wow, am I going to be able to handle this? Am I going to be able to do this and draw? But I love the challenge, and I think you just don't want to be complacent. Otherwise, you're just going to end up, like they always say, like, if you can't dream it, you can't achieve it. So I really believe in that as well. Okay.
With such a busy work life and a huge family, what do you do to like relieve stress or keep cool?
Boy, I spend time with my family. Actually, that is the chief de-stressor because none of them are really into comics per se, so we just never talk about it. And whether it's storylines, costumes, that kind of thing. So they really keep me kind of grounded. And my wife loves romantic comedies, and so I've seen every Nicholas Sparks movie. It's torture. I've seen The Vow. Wow, what a great movie that was. That was actually a pretty good one. She'll occasionally go and see like like Iron Man or whatever with me, and she falls asleep. So she takes a nap. So those are the kinds of things. Just really kind of carving out time with the family, because that is the thing that really gets eaten up when you're working on a deadline. It's just there's no way around it. When you draw, you just can't do anything else. You're a prisoner of the chair.
Hello, Mr. Lee. I was wondering,
Hi.
did you have a favorite comic or cartoon character growing up?
I had several. Johnny Quest was a real favorite of mine, and I would urge people to get the DVDs. That cartoon still holds up. It's awesome, yeah. And it's awesome because they have machine guns and they shoot people and they die. I'm like, wow, that's what's missing from cartoons these days, I think. But those are some awesome cartoons. There was a Korean character called Hangubakshi, which I think it means like skeleton man or something like that. And I remember as a kid in Korea watching that cartoon, and then the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons in black and white back in the day. I really kind of missed out on the G.I. Joe cartoons and all that stuff, so I kind of had toys that didn't have media attached to them, right? So it's the day before they made a lot of those kind of shows. What's your favorite cartoon?
Wow, I would say Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman would be my favorite. Young Justice.
Cool.
Hi Jim, it's Michael. I was just wondering, you did the teaser for Trinity War. Is Trinity War coming out this year or next year?
Trinity War coming out this year or next year? It's coming out this year, we just haven't announced it yet.
Alright, thank you.
You're welcome. Going back to the costume design, I actually have a better answer or something to add on to it. Oh, you're back in line. To me, what I do typically is I'll do reference or research, and I'll pull up every costume, that iteration of the costume. And then I just kind of look at design books, To me, I know people complain that there's a lot of little lines and stuff like that, but to me those are lines that, again, if you kind of look at it from a distance, they kind of disappear. To me, it's really all about the silhouette, the shape of colors, and then the elements that make that character recognizably that character. So even with Nightwing, it's just the big bird on his chest. I don't think there were any that were. There might have been a couple that were super drastically different, but they weren't the iconic characters. So, yes.
Good afternoon. I was wondering, I really enjoyed reading Hush, the pencil version that you did.
Yes.
Will you be releasing another story arc like that?
You mean going back and redrawing another Hush story and then releasing it in pencil? Yeah, I think there's plans to do more unwrapped stuff, not just in my work, but other artists at DC. I don't think it's been solicited yet, or they might have just solicited some of them, or mentioned them in the book catalog for next year, but you know, guys like Frank Quietly, Greg Capullo, I would love to see that stuff in pencil form.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
Good.
That's good. So my question is, sorry, I'm a little.
Is it really good? All right.
My question is how come you don't do books for Marvel anymore?
I'm a co-publisher at DC, so it makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, I know that was obvious, but I wasn't sure if you had a contract that prevented you from doing that.
I think they would not be happy if I were moonlighting and drawing books to directly compete, you know. That said, there's not that many books at Marvel, you know, I have a real yearning to draw. You know, I feel like between Heroes Reborn and working on the X-Men, I kind of drew the characters I wanted to, for the most part. And there's still so many more DC characters I haven't really even touched yet, so from Legion of Superheroes to Wonder Woman would be a lot of fun, I think, to draw at some point, so. You're welcome.
How old were you when you first started drawing?
How old was I when I first started drawing? I was like 4 or 5. I had an art tutor in Korea, and so I was 4 years old, and we used to work in oil pastels. Oil pastels, you start off with a yellow underdrawing, and you work up to darker colors or values. And yeah, that was my first art lesson, and I just always drew. Like even in school, I would always draw on my, you know, while taking notes or on tests or on the desks. I just drew all the time, and I think I knew I was kind of good when I think it was like 3rd grade, and I drew a picture of Nighthawk, who's a Marvel character, and the substitute teacher at the time, like she normally would grab stuff, like if you were doing things like that, and just like crumple it up and throw it away, and she like grabbed it and was gonna crumple it, and then she looked at it, I guess she liked it, and then she like posted it up on her wall. So yeah, so if there was an eBay back then, I think she would have popped that sucker on there. Anyway, yes.
Hi, I really like drawing, and I'm really slow with it, so I want to know how long it took before you were able to draw really fast.
It took a while. When I first started out at Marvel working on Alpha Flight, everything I drew, I was drawing for the first time, every pose. And so I just spent hours working out poses. And then after a while, probably after like 3 or 4 years, you get comfortable with anatomy. And not that you repeat poses, but you've kind of, not mastered, but you have a way of doing every kind of shot. So when I do an upshot of a face, I remember certain things in terms of, you know, if you have the nose like that, and then the upper lip is more pronounced, right? And then if you gotta kind of imagine the bridge of the nose there, and then that kind of guides you where the eyes go, right? And I can kind of do that for the most part pretty easily, but when I first did this, oh my gosh, like it was so hard. Like the nose was, you know, the eyes were like far apart, or one was higher than the other, and so you just have to, like, you know, it's like probably 2 or 3 years of constant drawing. Okay. All right.
Hey, Jim.
Yes.
So another question.
Sure.
I remember a couple months ago reading that Rob Liefeld had written a script called Icons, which would portray the early days of Image.
Yes.
If that ever gets any traction, who would you cast as yourself?
Boy. Gosh, there's so many racist things I could say. There's not many people. Maybe Steve Yeun from Walking Dead. Yeah, he doesn't look anything like me. Much better looking guy, but he's young, and you know, at the time of Image, I was, what, 27, so I think he's roughly like the right age, 27 or 28, so. Next.
Hi, Jim.
Yes.
I was wondering, is there any characters in particular that are really like hell to draw for you, or characters that you really enjoy drawing?
Characters that are what?
You really enjoy drawing, or you really hate drawing, or really difficult?
Spider-Man is a character I've said that I'm not a big fan of drawing just because the webbing is very hard to do and time-consuming. If you get it wrong, you got to start all over. Trying to think. DC. I like kind of the monster characters like Darkseid, because you can really exaggerate the proportions and kind of make something really non-human looking. You know, for the most part, when you draw a figure, you gotta remember, you know, there's bones here like this, and so you can put the flesh around that. When you draw a character like the Hulk or Darkseid like this, it doesn't look right. They just look like a big guy. They don't look as beefy. And I think Mike Mignola was the one that said, like, just draw a starfish. And then you put the head here. That's the Hulk. Okay. All right, hold on. I'm gonna do a better one. Okay. So it's almost like if you drew like the bones underneath and the muscles, it doesn't quite work, but you gotta like pay attention to the silhouette. So like a character like the Thing, it's all about, you know, having this massive torso and then kind of small legs. So you can kind of see the starfish, right? Okay. Well, we're on to things that I learned from Mike Mignola. Hands. You know what a pentagon is, right? Okay, there you go. Draw a pentagon slightly askew, right? Like that. And that is your palm. Your fingers come off that. Because most people do, yeah, I know, like, yes. Most people do that, and to me it looks very flat. There's a lot more interest and visual, it's just more visually dynamic this way. And so I would say there's almost a trick for every part of the body, including starfish. And it's helpful because it makes you pay attention to, instead of trying to draw a hand and thinking the hand's square, it forces you to adapt a shape that you wouldn't necessarily think exists. But if you look at your hand, it's kind of there, right? Okay. I'm going to do headshots a little faster. Yes.
So, Mr. Lee?
Yes.
So, on your upcoming like series Superman Unchained?
Yes.
Will you be introducing a new villain or be recreating an old villain like Parasite or Metallo?
It's a new villain. Okay. That's all I can tell you. Okay.
Hey Jim, I want to say first thanks. You got me into comics with your artwork, so, you know, props. And I'm wondering, are there any characters that you haven't gotten the chance to draw that you number one, like, this is the character you want to draw personally?
Like I said, I think Legion of Superheroes would be fun to draw. Wonder Woman would be awesome just because I've done Batman and Superman. Who? I like the Earth-esque supervillains. You know, those guys are pretty cool. Analogs like Justice League Gone Bad. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna sign this and give it away. Yeah, hold on. Let me think.
Over here.
Okay.